I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today into our Zoom tasting and introduce you to some great friends and winemakers that the first winemakers we started with, I think. And this is Mateus and Teresa, and they are in Foscoa in northern Portugal on the Douro. They're in Douro Superior, and they have a great history of innovative winemaking, and they're going to show you a couple of their wines today. The wines, there's the red wines of.
Mateus can do that.
Well, we put a little map in your bags of in the little bags of samples. There's a little map of the Douro, and it explains the climate wines that they make, and wines made in different same wines made in different locations and how the wines change. And then there's some white wines, the Eremitas wines that are about the effect of the soils on winemaking. But it's probably best if the people who made it tell you about it than me. So introduce Mateus and Teresa.
Bravo.
So what we are doing here is, as you know, this in Douro region is traditionally for port wine since 3 centuries. We are making port wine, and only recently in the early 90s we started seriously making still wine. Before, our still wine was only for our own consumption in the country. In fact, we still call the still wine here, we call it consumption wine. I don't know if you understand that, but so only for our
own
consumption. Well, and so it's we are making serious still wines here in Douro since 30 years ago. My grandfather and my father, they had a big part on it. First, my grandfather with a wine called Barca Velha, which is quite famous here in Portugal, and then my father with Duas Quintas, and we felt the necessity of explore more what this region is regarding still wines, because port wine is more about blends and about taking wines from here, from the region, to Vila Nova de Gaia, in Porto, and then age the wine in Gaia and blend them during the years. Still wine is less blending and more focus in different soils or quintas or climates. And Douro region is quite a big region. It's a valley, a schist valley in the northeast of Portugal. It's a valley schist and with Mediterranean climate. And we have 3 climates. Do you listen to me well? It's okay? Yes?
There's a bit of feedback.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo.
Yes, now there's an echo. So, this is weird. So, in the east part, we are more close to the ocean. We have a climate. It's a Mediterranean Atlantic climate, so it still has influence of the rains and humidity of the Atlantic, but it's still Mediterranean climate.
No.
And it's a region called Baixo Corgo. So there are 3 sub-regions in Douro, and they are divided because of the different climates that we have. So Baixo Corgo is Mediterranean Atlantic climate. Cima Corgo, it's the center. It's pure Mediterranean climate. It's where most of famous vintage port come from. And then Douro Superior, which is see, this is west, this is east. It's close to Spain, and it's a Mediterranean continental climate. So very dry climate. It rains in Douro Superior. It rains less than half than in Baixo Corgo. So only with this we have. Hello. We have completely different wines. If you say, it's like saying, I like Bordeaux wine. Yes, but where? Rive droite, rive gauche, Saint-Emilion, Grave, and all this. So, so we try to show people the differences in our climates and inside our region. So first, it's the climates, and then if we zoom in, we go inside of each climate. There are different soils, even if it's mostly schist. There are different kinds of schist, different kind of formations. Schist was formed 500 million years ago. There was no life on Earth. So, and depending this, and then we call it Eremitas. So depending on the formation of the soil, we have different kind of wines. So maybe you have the wines to taste.
Yeah.
No, see.
Los blancos,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Can we taste first the reds? It's okay for you if we taste first the reds?
Yes, yeah. We plan to try the Baixo Corgo first,
Yes, Baixo
and then
Corgo.
the Douro Superior.
Pois tens que falar tu também. Qual é que vais falar?
que quieras.
Fala tu. Pois, so Baixo Corgo. So the wines are quite vinified in a very simple way, a very basic vinification in an open concrete tank during a week, and then aged for 1 year in concrete tank, also in concrete tank. So there's no wood. Important to don't give influence of wood, because to feel only on the climate. So in Baixo Corgo, me and Teresa, we say that until Easter we don't drink.
No.
Making a Ramadan.
Are
Now
you serious?
we make an exception now.
You've given up booze for Lent.
No, only
You're
on
going to go to
Sundays.
heaven. Well done, you.
On Sundays.
No drinking on Sundays.
So Baixo Corgo, it's always the wines, the maturation. It's 1 month after Douro Superior, and the wines are more like the fruit, more fresh, more acidity, blueberries, the tannins, because there's tannins because of the time of there's no, sometimes they don't ripe totally like in Douro Superior, but as we're going to see in Douro Superior also we have tannins, but because of extreme extreme heat.
The freshness really stands out.
Yes.
Yeah, the freshness really stands out. Yeah. Is there a little bit of residual sugar in this one at all, or is it completely dry? Gosh, the fruit intensity gives it quite a sweetness.
Yes, I think in all Douro wines, the ripeness gives them also a little bit of sensation of sugar. Because, but they are dry. But I think it's because of the
kind of tannins.
Tannins that have, I don't know,
Juicy wines.
But so by Socorro, for those that have visit Douro, you see that it's green. They have much more grass and trees, vegetation. As you go to Upper Douro, the climate it's much more dry, and here in Foscoa it's almost desert, semi-desert. And we bottle them very early, so only 1 year in the winery, to keep the pure characteristic of the climate, to have this fresh, not only this one, but this fresh aromas of the characteristic of the subregion.
Not to have other influence of aging or wherever. That's why also is an oak wine, because we need to keep the pure aspect of the climate, not to put any oak or any other variable, or how you say.
And so,
is it field blend or block planting?
Yes, all these wines are field blend.
Yeah.
We traditionally have field blended vineyards. We have more than almost 100 different varieties here in Douro, so it's quite difficult to understand all of them. But we look more for field blended vineyards, so we can eliminate the influence of the variety. If we had here a little bit more of Touriga Nacional or a little bit more Tinto Cão, it will be shown this characteristic of the variety and not the characteristic of the climate.
Thank you.
And so, vamos passar para outro. And so as we go up, you don't have Simacorgo?
You have Douro Superior, no?
Yeah.
We sold out of Simacorgo.
We
have to, and the ship didn't come in quick enough because of, what did you say about Brexit?
Yes.
So we
have to wait.
No?
So we skip the Simacorgo. Simacorgo is in the center.
You taste it, yeah.
Simacorgo wines are more round, less tannins, are the more smooth tannins in the three subregions. So
silky tannins and roundness and balance and elegance.
Yes. And the fruits are not blue fruits and more red fruits.
And floral aspect, yeah. More floral. But we pass to the Douro Superior then, no? Is the one you have. We have here 16. Douro Superior 16.
It's the one that you have, right?
Yeah. You see?
Yeah.
This is a shad. I know that you in Bristol you have shads too.
We have shad.
Yes.
Yes, the seven. We have shad in the seven, and the
Okay.
same story of the fish not being able to get back up.
Unlock the severn.
Yes, yeah.
We want to
have the same
unlock the
problem as you
Douro.
do.
So here it's more aged wine. As you can see, even if they spend only 1 year in the winery, the wine age well, doesn't stop the aging.
You find much more fruit here, no? It's not so fresh, but it has freshness. But you have a complexity of fruit, ripe fruit, and it's a richer wine, and well, of course, more tannins.
Tannins, but Douro Superior tannins are much more powdery.
Yeah.
They are not so.
Baixo Corgo,
green.
it's sharp tannins, more, and Douro Superior, it's more powdery tannins. That's because it's so hot here that the maturation stops because of the heat. So, and it gives this kind of tannins. And in Baixo Corgo, the maturation stops, but because of lack of heat. And that's in the same region.
And in Cima Corgo, it doesn't stop.
And Cima Corgo doesn't stop.
That's why they are so silky.
Exactly. And in Douro Superior, also we have a lot of, I don't know if in this one we can feel it. I think now
Mango.
Mango and tropical fruits.
And figs.
In the aromas, the three subregions are different too, different kind of fruits. In Douro Superior, there's a lot of, it's typical the mango. Mango?
Yeah, mango, yeah. Sunshine.
It's spicier as well, isn't it? Because of that heat, the fruit is spicier. That part of that complexity, I think Teresa was talking about. Yeah.
You feel the spicy, Sarah?
Yeah.
So even in Douro Superior, in each region, we have different kind of soils and altitudes. Also, we play a lot with the altitude. So these wines don't come only from one parcel. They come from many small parcels in different altitudes and different expositions, because as Douro is a mountains, if a wine is vineyard, it's 100 meters high, it's very different if it's 500. But as we want to show the characteristic of the climate of the subregion, we blend different vineyards from different altitudes, expositions, south, north, etc. And all the work in the winery is very simple, very basic. We only add small quantities of sulfur. That's the work that we have started doing in 2005 to start to eliminate some additions on the wine, and it's something that it's very difficult to make from 1 year to the other, because you must be very careful. Wine is very sensible and can have many defects, so that's why we have been studying that. More than 10 years ago we are working on this. So there's no added yeasts and other kind of products. Well, and so are you all okay?
Yes, thank you.
You feel this? So
questions or
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does anybody want to ask Mateus and Teresa anything about the red wines we've just tried, the Trans Douro wines?
Yeah, I would like to, if I may.
Hi, Alan.
Hi. I mean, the differences are astonishing, but in places like the Douro Superior, how do you control the temperature, the fermentation? I know your plan, your aim is to keep things as simple as possible, but how do you control that fermentation temperature?
yes, what we have done is we have dig a hole on the ground, on the rock, and made a subterranean cave winery, underground winery. That in winter it rains inside, which is not very good. As you can see, não estava o rótulo.
Humidity. Humidity is
when we age the bottles, they get the labels get bit. But what we have found is that even in the white wines, if the temperature goes high, there's no problem. Of course, we must. That's why we have made an underground winery. We cannot leave the temperature goes until the 40 degrees, but underground and with the smooth crushing the grapes at night or even in the morning, early in the morning. So the fermentation starts very slowly and doesn't goes up more than 35.
And we have to say that the tanks are very small, so you don't have.
And also the tanks are very small. Also the tanks that we use is concrete. If we do this in stainless steel, it doesn't work.
No, and if you do that in a 2000.
20,000. If it's a big tank, a 10 tons, 10,000 kilos tank, the fermentation, the temperatures go much more higher. So it's small tanks underground and in concrete tank.
Thank you very much.
The temperature.
Thank you.
And we are going to see now in the whites. Which you have Paulo de Terras and Amon de Calia.
We've given people, the first one is Amon de Calia.
Yes.
And the second one is Paulo de Terras.
Amon de Calia 16.
16.
Yes, yeah. It's a slow boat.
Show the label.
The Eremitas.
No?
So, well, Trans Douro Express. Well, we have named it because of the train that crosses all the region, and we like trains, and and we like
Craft work.
craft work. That's the idea. Came from craft work.
Wow.
And so as we zoom in the region, inside of each sub-region, we have many different soils. And here with the Eremitas, it's three white wines made with the same variety called Habigatu, only one variety. But in different parcels that some they distance from each other 200 meters, 300 meters. Quita eso. Pues, vale. And so, sorry. So the soils, you have different formations. This is also formation. Well, doesn't matter. But we have noticed that our parcels that were distant from 200 meters or 300 meters from each other with the same variety, they were completely different. And that's why we're working here. So more we focus, more we go on the small parcels, the ones become different. And we have done it. We work with one variety here called Habigatu, and this variety is a very special variety from Douro Superior. All the variety, these white wines are from the Douro Superior. It's funny because Douro Superior, it's the driest region, but for us, it's where the whites show better with the heat. And mainly with this variety, Habigatu, which is a variety born in Douro Superior, which is very acidic, the variety. If we plant this variety in a cool climate, it gives sulfuric acid, it's undrinkable. It's very, very, lots of acidity. And it works very well on this region. And also we have tried to look to find a way of vinify the wine, because as you know, still white wines were reinvented in the 80s or early 90s in France, because there were these fantastic regions like Alsace or Burgundy that were making good wines, but all the rest of the white wines were, well, some exceptions, of course, and so there was some techniques and studied in the 80s, mainly in Bordeaux, to make a perfect white wine. Don't have the problems that we had in the 80s and the 70s, that white wines were. And so, but what happened is all the world started to apply all the same techniques as in Bordeaux or in Burgundy, low temperature and things like this. And we found that we couldn't show our terroir with this kind of techniques. We should use our techniques. So what we do is we crush the grapes in lagar. We stomp on the grapes, the full bunch, for 3-4 hours, and then the wine goes to a press, a vertical press, and then goes to the underground cave to ferment in concrete tank. And here we don't use temperature control.
Wow.
And it's very curious that each parcel has always the same evolution of temperature during fermentation every year. For example, Montecalia goes until 30 degrees every year, but Paulo de Tebas only goes to 25. It's very curious that all this information is in the ground.
In the parcel, no?
Yes.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's really yummy.
And I don't know if the way the wine age is different here than in England or Britain.
I tasted it.
I hope this is better. Also, there's a funny thing on here that we didn't talk before, is that these wines, as you maybe know, are sent on sailing boat by Anton and Lila and Anton. They are sailors, and maybe this sailing
improves the wine
as a good effect.
It's the sea aging.
Sea aging, exactly.
Yes.
I think it works.
Very slowly.
What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I was going to say, I tasted these almost 3 years ago, the 2016s that we're tasting now. I tasted all three of them, but with, I'm going to pronounce it very badly, Amandaculia, I still get the same sort of, to me, very strong kind of like citrus character, like an orange peel character. And in the Paulo de Tabas, I get a real sort of like a quince and apple, bruised apple character. And they're very consistent from when I first tasted them. I mean, they're different as well. You know, they're showing a little bit more body, but they still have a freshness, but the essential characters are the same, which is really, really great to see. And still very different from each other.
They keep their own personality.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Each parcel, each Eremita has a personality that you see every vintage.
Yeah.
And there's one thing also is Amandaculia doesn't makes malolactic fermentation. Not because we want or don't want, because it stops naturally. It says more acidity. But Paulo de Tebas, next white wine, always makes the malolactic fermentation just after alcoholic fermentation. It's incredible that every year. So also, again, this information is very on the ground.
Slight pineapple leaf. Pineapple.
Pineapple. Sometimes we crush some pineapple and.
No, it's true. It's true. I can.
Bring this pineapple to Douro.
Yeah, fine.
So.
Mandarin.
See, no, pineapple.
It's more expressive. It's more aromatic. It's a very. We say terpenic, no, in the technical, terpenic Habigatu, the terpenic expression of Habigatu, which is the more, well, expressive.
And also, it's funny that the wine can age in well aged in color. This one has 4 years, no, 5. Well,
21. It's going to be 5.
And we don't need to have temperature control to keep the aromas, as you can see. Well, we just what we do is not. We don't let the wine, okay, and then we go home. It's being a study during along these years. Maybe we pass to. Där ist fora.
Pero si no bebes.
Yeah. Pero...
Paulo de Tebas.
Yeah.
I can write in the.
So, well, the name Eremitas is Eremites, no?
Hermits, yeah.
Hermits. We have named it because for the finding the way of vinification these wines, we looked for the Cistercian monks and how were their techniques, because Douro also has a big influence of Cistercian monks.
Yeah.
Yes. So 1,000 years ago, they were all around Europe, making monasteries around Europe. And nowadays, like 80% of the dioceses that exist in Europe were made originally by the Cistercian monks.
Didn't you become a monk for a bit?
Yes.
I remember you going off to be a monk. Well, you're back now.
Can't hear you.
You've gone quiet,
You've
mate.
gone mute.
You've gone quiet.
Press a button. Not us. Can anybody else hear you? Off, on?
I can't hear.
Yeah, guy, we have no sounds, Mateus.
No, we can't do anything about it.
Okay.
Mateus has to fix it.
Ah, now?
Ah, you're back.
Oh,
Hey.
you have a vow of silence.
Oh, that was the monk.
That was the monk, yeah. So you're back from your silent retreat.
Yes.
Very cool.
So
Wow,
yes,
this is
they have
very nice.
they have been ruling the wine in Europe until the 1700s, more or less, when they were
Put outside.
put out. And and they had a lot of knowledge about agriculture and winemaking too. So I went to this monastery. It was incredible, in a big mountain with water springs and big trees and 11 crazy monks with beer like this alone there, and I was with them.
Hipsters.
no internet, no phone, nothing. Bit afraid. But at the end there was a problem. They didn't speak. They couldn't talk. So I didn't learn a lot. But it was a funny experience. And,
We called the first barrel you made for us for the boat. We called that monks.
yes.
Yeah, we put a name on it. It's it's monks.
Do you still have this?
A few bottles.
We're saving them for when you
We'll
come.
save one for when you come over in December.
when you
Okay, in
come.
December
Sweet
for the show.
Yeah.
For the, yeah,
Yeah. So
Back to wine.
see the monks.
Paulo de Tebas, que dizer tu?
Well, I think the expression is very different to the Amon de Kelia, the President White, but it's the same grape and the same schist soil, is and the same orientation, south orientation.
Mm.
So the difference is the parcel, how the parcel is. No, this parcel
The soil, the composition of the soil, the schist. If you see a soil of granite, it's not the same here and 100 meters there.
It's more sober in expression. It doesn't have all these fruit aromas like we have seen before, the citrics and pineapples and wherever. No, this is, but it is very. I think it's like deeper.
And also there's less acidity. It makes the malolactic fermentation. So the less acidity.
More lactic, yeah.
More lactic, yes.
I will say that is a wine that aged in oak, but it's not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It haven't seen the oak. It looks like it, no?
This is 100% Habigatu too.
Yes, the three, Habigatu. The three Eremitas are 100% Habigatu, and the three Eremitas are exactly vinified in the same way as Mateus explained, with the grapes trodden by foot, etc. The difference is just the parcel, is the, yeah.
It's crazy how
the cru,
how different.
the French say, no?
What?
The cru.
And they're quite old. They're quite old vines, but because Habigatu is so well suited to Douro Superior, unusually it's not a field blend. It's actually, that's what people planted a long time ago.
40.
Yeah.
How old?
The age 40 years old.
40, around 40.
Yeah.
Yes. 40 years old. And also a characteristic of Habigatu is the skin. The skin is very
Oops, sorry.
thick. Não faças isso.
Pon en silencio.
It's very thick. So also it gives tannins
Yeah.
that help the wines age.
Yeah, it's a tannic grape, white grape.
Sí, sí.
And it's also interesting, it's very long in the mouth. It stays for a long, long time. Longer than among the Caribbean.
What do you think, all of you? What's your opinion?
A ver.
Has anyone got anything,
Any
Eremitas
comments on?
comments or
Cat's tail.
questions?
Cat's tail. There's a
And they're
cat's
really
tail.
developing in the glass. You know, they're just showing more and more.
Yes.
And I've probably had it open for an hour now.
Okay.
Had a
That's
sneak
okay.
preview
We have-
before
we
we
have- yes, we
started.
have-
But yeah, I mean, they're just showing more and more and more.
Yeah, it's delicious. Anybody got any questions for Mateus
And Teresa?
and Teresa?
No, it's interesting that someone start. No. It's
We've got to add that.
interesting that you have we keep in this wine in those wines from a hot region like Douro Superior, and they still have reductive aromas instead of oxidative aromas, which will be a problem for us because oxidative aromas in those wines that will be like a wine that cannot be old or that not get old, no, and that shows us that they have potential to get old. And well, this is
Also the work that we do
because the work, because the
in the
soil,
winery. We
and
keep,
because the grape, no, because everything. And this is well, we are seeing in this 16. You can see very well, no, those
sí.
kind of aromas that little by little they open and they show the wine that is after, no, after that.
Also, when we foot through the grapes that originate much more lees and
Okay.
strong lees and reductive lees. So stomping on the grapes, it's an oxidative movement, but originates much more lees that reduce the wine, and we don't take them out. We leave the wine with all these lees, so the wine can age.
We have to keep them safe from oxidation and evolution.
Well, it's a shame we couldn't show the other ones that didn't arrive on the boat.
Well, we have
Yeah.
other wines.
another
Also,
time.
there's a Corral Teles. Corral Teles, it's our house, our quinta, and here we make wines from. So it's climate with Trans Douro Express, soil with Eremitas, and then human with Corral Teles. And Corral Teles, it's wines are wines that where human can where the biggest effect is. It comes from the human, not from the climate, not from the soil. The human that as so this is kind of the construction of Douro terroir. We don't have it here today.
What sort of food would you recommend with this final white that we've tried? What would you eat with this?
Chad.
Shad. The fish.
Smoked.
Shad.
We used to serve a smoked shad. It's true.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but Sarah, which food do you recommend with this wine? Turkey.
I mean, I certainly think it's the kind of white wine that because of that tannin that you could have with chicken or with meat or goat or something like that. In a traditional. I mean, I'm vegetarian, so it's not the sort of thing.
It's got that mouth texture that can stand up to more sort of
Yeah.
Yes,
Complicated
yes.
cooking, I suppose.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we-
Portuguese traditional food is very strong, isn't it? And very pungent.
Yeah.
And you know, this certainly, you know, that chicken sausage.
yeah.
Baleares, yeah.
To be true, here we many times we drink this wine with meat.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
meat,
With
Fatty meat.
with, yeah, pork meat in the oven also.
because of the tannins, because all the structure of wine can, and also cheese, of course. But all the wines are not. All these Eremitas wines are not light wines like
Light whites, no.
light whites. It's very difficult to make light whites here in this region. So yes, it's good with food with cheese.
Mm.
Sorry, for me, I find this is a really nice pork wine, personally. It's
Pork.
kind of got a
We
beautiful bit of
use-
acidity and a bit of that kind of green apple.
Yeah.
I think would just be really nice with something roasted, like typically
Mm.
like big English pork joint.
put-
Just again, when you get this really fatty cut
Yeah.
with like crackling, I think that green apple and that acidity would just cut through that really well. It's a beautiful, beautiful glass. It's
I
lovely.
used to make pork with quince.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that at
In
your
the
house.
oven.
It's really
Yeah,
nice.
and
Lab.
then
Ah, sounds
it
incredible.
goes very well with the quince in the oven with the pork and the acidity.
And we had it with you, we had it with the turkey as well, the big turkey leg.
Also,
See,
What do you call it?
quick, quick, quick.
roast.
Paru.
Everybody knows what turkey is.
Eh? They call it Paru, don't they?
And yes, and it's not yes, wine for the glass. It's not. I don't know what you think, but it always ask for food. These wines, not for just.
Okay.
No.
Well, we have overrun our time.
Okay.
So thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, lovely to see you, Mateus and
Good.
Teresa. Thanks for
Lovely to see you all. Thank you
joining
very
in
much.
and telling about your
See you
Thank
soon,
you.
get up
maybe.
to.
Lovely to see you, Sarah. Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
it's nice to see you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for coming.
Sarah.
Ciao, Sarah. Ciao,
Well,
everybody.
I
Yeah.
call it.
See you later, Matt.
Ciao.
Bye.